in southeast Queensland for round 3 of the 2006 Alphera Dutton Rally, where 130 drivers and co-drivers from all around the country battle the weather, witches' hats, plus the occasional water barrier, as the nation's fastest growing tarmac rally event put on a show worthy of any Gold Coast theme park. The teams gathered in Warwick, around 2 hours drive southwest of Brisbane, on the Thursday prior to the event for scrutineering, ensuring their cars were roadworthy and mechanically sound. After a quick squirt of pink paint, the cars were ready to go. Then it was time to settle down for the night, ahead of what was going to be a big first day.
We're really looking forward to the event tomorrow. We're allowed to have 2 beers on the night before, and after that with no more drinking. We're up from Sydney and we're certainly going to enjoy the event tomorrow, and especially if you can turn on days like today, absolutely fantastic.
Well, the weather turned nasty, and there's a fair chance more than a couple of beers were drunk. Only socially, of course. The Shire of Warwick is located in the Darling Downs, one of Australia's richest primary producing districts. Warwick is known as the Rose and Rodeo City, and on the weekend of the rally, the annual Jumper and Jazz Festival was being held, with trees, posts and bikes adorned with some of the locals' finest woolly numbers. Even the monument in the main street to the city's first MLA, Thomas Joseph Burns, was attired in this year's winning ensemble. We missed the jazz part of the festival, but we will get to hear some sweet-sounding cars over the weekend, making a different kind of music. And at the very least, we know that most of them will be in tune. Day 1 of the 2006 Queensland Alphera Dutton Rally, and anything but a fantastic day, greeted the competitors. The Warwick RSL, however, provided a welcoming environment for the drivers, co-drivers and officials to enjoy their breakfast before the mandatory drivers' briefing.
We've got 120 drivers and co-drivers this year. It's double from last year, so thank you guys for coming back, for those of you that have, and all those new drivers, welcome to the rally.
With so many new entrants for this event, it was important to make everyone aware of what the weekend was about. Driving hard, driving safe, and above all else, having a good time. The first event was held at Morgan Park Raceway, and as if by some divine magic, I must say that a more colourful metaphor was used by organisers. The Dutton Rally, like the New South Wales event earlier in the year, brought rain to an area that has seen precious little over the past few years. Morgan Park Raceway was a combined racetrack and hill climb facility that was established by the Warwick District Sporting Car Club. Logistically, it was difficult for the small group of committed locals to maintain both circuits. So under the guidance of President Bill Campbell, the racetrack alone was upgraded to this tricky 2.2 kilometre circuit. The winner of the teams event from the New South Wales leg of the Dutton Rally, along with his co-driver Russell Newman, was Mark Berry from Queensland, sharing the very quick Nissan Skyline GTR, car number 3. Now Mark, well done in New South Wales, pretty pleased with that?
Yeah, it was good, We had a pretty strong weekend and the car went well. Made a couple of mistakes, but we ended up clawing them back on the Sunday.
What sort of pressure is there being the winner from last event?
Oh, it's home ground. There's more pressure from being at home than winner of last event. Should be good.
Any plans for the weekend?
Try and stop the rain.
I was going to say, you invited everyone up here for a perfect weekend. What's going on?
I think I jinxed that. I think I jinxed our weather. We're the same. We haven't had rain in Warwick for a long time.
Second spot from the New South Wales event was taken by Martin Ataris and co-driver Simon Arthur in their Mitsubishi Evo 8. Now, New South Wales, not a win. Did you have a good talking to yourself?
No, just the guys drove really well, so they deserved it. Can't win them all.
So what's the game plan for the weekend?
Just keep it on the road at this stage and just have some fun.
Not being competitive?
I'm never competitive. Everything you hear, don't believe everything you hear.
Good luck.
Thank you.
David Finnemore and co-driver Chris Sprangers came fourth outright in New South Wales in their Mitsubishi Evo 6. Tell us about the car.
It's a Mitsubishi Evo 6 RS. I drove it up in the city and my back's RS now, and every other part of my body feels RS as well. So It's ex-Greg Garwood Target Tasmania car, so yeah, it's a good little car. It's a great little package, so hopefully we'll get up there, and I think we came 4th in New South Wales, so hopefully get up there again soon. Time will tell.
Barry Smith from Barry Smith Motorsport, one of the sponsors of the rally, was at the helm of his Porsche GT3. You looking forward to it?
Oh, look, I am, Glenn. It's a great event. It's a lot of, for us, being an associate sponsor, it's a bit of networking for us. We get to talk to people who hand over money for wonderful brake components, and it's actually nice to see them. And it's good to put a bit back in. They seem to appreciate it. We get to come and have a bit of a fang around some places we've never seen before.
Samantha Stevens from the car show and Molly Taylor, daughter of Coral Taylor, who navigates for Neil Bates in the Australian Rally Championships, teamed up for the first time in a Dutton rally. Molly's a fair rally driver herself, and her and Sam were in a brand new car with a few luxuries.
We've got ourselves an R32, all-wheel drive, 3.2 litre V6 in it. It's the fastest thing I've had in a Dutton rally, and I'm really looking forward to it. And we've got leather and seat heaters, doing it in style.
Molly's usual drive when competing is a little Mitsubishi Mirage.
Yeah, it's a lot different to this car, obviously, front-wheel drive, 1.6 litres, almost half of this one, so yeah, it revs a lot more and a lot more sort of torque rather than horsepower, so it should be, yeah, a bit different hopping in a four-wheel drive car. Obviously we'll have a lot more traction, hopefully, and power.
Molly, Sam and the rest of the drivers didn't get much of a run, although the girls did get to pass a $500,000 Ferrari 575 Maranello driven by Tino Carusi, who was experiencing his first Duttons. To be fair to Tino though, he had just spun off. Within an hour of arriving at the track, and with the rain still falling, it was time for the officials to make a call. So Denko, what's the story?
It's just too wet out there, Glenn. There was a few incidents in that session with cars spinning off. It was just far too wet. We've had an assessment of the track. We just can't continue. Too dangerous.
These cars have actually collided. Pretty heavy impact.
Car 18, the combination of Glenn Martin and Steve Burke, with Glenn at the wheel of the White Evo, was involved in one of those incidents, along with Peter Gazzard in the MX-5.
Yeah, I was just crossing the finishing line to finish, and the car in front of me just slowed. Too much, I thought, and didn't have anywhere to go except in the side of him.
John Bright, in his GTR, didn't think he was too bright after this little mishap. What happened?
Well, we're not sure yet, but I think there's a fair amount of driver error in it. Just coming around the top, it was only a warm-up lap. Wasn't actually even on the gas, wasn't on the brakes, just stepped out left. No power steering, no anything. It's all gone.
The show must go on though, and the event was rescheduled as a Motorcana back in Warwick on Albert Street.
Guys, very quickly, I've just made this up on the spot. I don't know how accurate it's going to be, but this is our new event for today. We're only going to do one run of this, and then we're going to proceed as normal for the afternoon event at 4 o'clock.
This was the first time some of the locals had seen the cars in action, and Albert Street was the perfect location for spectators and competitors alike, with the drivers putting on a show for the crowd. For Darren McCann in car 43, the weekend was over when the transmission broke in his Evo 6. Meanwhile, at the Morgan Park 1/8 mile drag strip, it would have been more popular with coxless 8s than V8s, turbocharged 4s and quick 6s. Some of the times posted were impressive though, for the conditions. Molly Taylor soon had the all-wheel drive R32 Volkswagen posting a very quick time in the wet.
10.321 for Molly, 79 mile an hour. These cars are getting faster and faster as the track's drying out today.
Paul McKee, driver of car 78, which just happens to be a 77 Toyota Celica, wasn't as much concerned with the weather. It was more the competition.
drag racing's always interesting with 500 horsepower going through the rear wheels, but luckily I got the boys at Turbo Technics helping me out, and everything should be good this time around.
Well, good luck. I think you're up against a cruiser. How do you think you'll go?
Well, I hear that thing does about a 12.5 quarter mile, so I think I'm going to be in trouble with it having four-wheel drive.
The father and son combination of David and Quinton Nicholson in car 80 seemed a bit laid back for a team that had to monster this around all weekend.
Well, it's got the standard petrol engine, 4.5 litre straight six, with a 700 horsepower turbo and computer management, intercooler, all that stuff, and a locked rear diff when you want it. It's got an air locker that you can put on, and yeah, just stiffened suspension. Nothing too much.
And what do you normally use it for?
This, terrorising people, I don't know, anything.
Is it your everyday driver?
Yeah, we do use it a fair bit. You know, we take the dog for a walk in it, we go shopping and do all the usual things, and then smoke the tyres off it on airstrips.
Speaking of airstrips,
3, 2, 1, go!
the 1,000 metre sprint, or how fast are you game enough to go in a straight line, was held at the Warwick Airport. As the sprints began, credit had to go to the spectators who braved the elements to come out and watch. Due to the conditions, which could only be described as bleak, the sprint was reduced to 700 metres. Now this didn't seem to slow any of the competitors down, with some reaching phenomenal speeds to try and outdo the time set by Mark Berry in car 3. 16.57 seconds and over 250 kilometres an hour. Trent Kennedy in car 29 came second in the sprint, only half a second off the pace. Aaron Camilleri in car 60, another Nissan GTR, is said by Trent, who's a good mate of Aaron's, to be the worst driver in one of the quickest cars. I mean to say, Trent, surely not much can go wrong travelling in a straight line along a flat runway. Now Christopher Beard in car 58 tried his best to prove that theory wrong when he overshot the runway to make a successful landing in his Mitsubishi Evo 8. Mitsubishi do produce aircraft engines, however, Evos are not designed to travel long distances in the air. We reckon Christopher may have missed the meeting regarding the reduced length of the sprint.
I misjudged the distance. I kept thinking, oh, why are they all standing there still? And I went past at 240 and then saw the end of the runway, put my brakes on gently, went off the end of the runway at 160, in the air, down a gully, through a fence, through a paddock, stopped, checked the car, drove back the same tracks. Evos, tough.
Didn't you think there was something wrong when you hadn't taken off by that point?
I put my flaps down, but I possibly will not do that again. The second run was very boring.
Luckily for Christopher, he didn't lose his personal landing gear after the mishap. Just a bit of pride.
It takes a while to stop in the wet.
After the break, the action continues at the 2006 Queensland Alphera Dutton Rally as competitors hit the streets of Warwick. Conditions on day one of the 2006 Queensland Alphera Dutton Rally were, as we mentioned earlier, bleak. But that's the beauty of this event. Every day's an adventure. And if you don't believe me, let's have a look at the series so far for this year. Perth had the privilege of kicking off the National Series in February, and in doing so, made the event one of the largest in the Southern Hemisphere. Chris Caruso went searching for tyre sponsorship in his modified Jag, while the event's official charity entry put themselves in their client's shoes, literally.
Yeah, many have been very good to us, and they're helping us raise money for people with disabilities, but it looks like Nellie Carr's a bit disabled, doesn't it?
New South Wales was next. A fierce field of over 90 cars, 150 plus competitors, and some of the best driver facilities in the country were on offer for round two of the series. Leo Yu took to the rally like a duck to water, and crowd favourite Darren Park pushed his Holden Commodore hard. Just a little too hard.
car was going fantastic. Just went to lay into it to get it around that top turn and just bang. Just made a lovely little boom in the car. So, not good news. We'll take it back and try and get another box or a diff, whatever it is in it.
Now back to Queensland for round 3. Albert Street, Warwick was the venue for the first of the Twilight events as part of the 2006 Queensland Rally. This proved to be a challenge for the drivers and a laugh for the spectators, whose numbers had grown since the rescheduled Morgan Park Raceway event earlier in the day. The safety crews were on hand if anything did go wrong, and fortunately they weren't needed. Well, only to clean up the mess. David Finnemore and Chris Sprangers teamed up in car 11, a Mitsubishi Evo 6. They were outright 4th in the New South Wales round, and they were determined to go better here in Queensland. There were a few who should have known better, throwing caution to the wind, including the Berry Newman combination in the GTR, as well as a few who did their best to entertain the enthusiastic crowd. The Nicholson entrant, car 80, was certainly a crowd favourite.
Now, David, I want to know what sort of night you had the night before you decided to do this to this.
Oh, I don't know. I probably went out and had a couple of bottles of red or something, and then read in Motor Magazine about a turbocharged Land Cruiser, and we took it from there. And we've actually done it 3 times subsequent. Well, that first time and another 2 incarnations of it, and this one is pretty good.
Car 7, the Mitsubishi Evo 8, driven to 2nd place in the teams event in New South Wales by Martin Nataris and Simon Arthur, was a late withdrawal from the Motorcarter.
Marty, not a good day.
No, not a good day.
Tell us what happened.
We're at the 800 metre sprint and the thrust bearing went on the clutch again. So, yeah, it puts us out. It's too hard to fix it this time.
Now, this was the same problem you had in Perth?
Yeah. The car's never had that problem before, so it was a bit strange. So I'll have to get it back home and have a good look at it.
In Perth, you buckled down and got it together. Why not here?
We've got to actually take the car to Brisbane and get it fixed, and we can't get a part. So, yeah, it's sort of, it ends our day, ends our weekend.
Expect to see the boys back for the Victorian round later this year. We put the challenge out to motoring journalist and the car show presenter Dave Morley, co-driver of car 37, to take on Australian rally driver Spencer Lowndes, co-driving in car 38, to see whether the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, you get what I mean.
Dave, you always reckoned Spencer wasn't that good a driver.
He's a hack.
He's always had cars given to him.
He has, and he's abused the privilege, in my opinion.
And
enjoyed doing it.
So here's a good opportunity. You reckon you can beat him?
No, I don't. He's a professional driver. I'm an unprofessional driver.
Look at the arrogance on him, mate.
I'm not a professional driver. Well, you're more professional than me. And you're, slimmer and everything. I'm going to get hosed here, I know it.
But he's not as experienced, though.
I think he might be. Yeah.
No, he hasn't got the age under his belt like you have. The years aren't
So
there.
now I'm fat, slow and old. Great, this is going well.
The sword won out this time, and to be honest, Morley, you'll never look good in a Mini. There's a long way to go though, with only 1 day of competition completed. Speaking of looking good in a Mini, it was time to gather at the King's Theatre in Warwick, where competitors enjoyed the true spirit of the Alphera Dutton Rally, with Nataris and Arthur withdrawing because of a crook thrust bearing and an even worse haircut in Martin's case. The team's outright leaderboard after day 1 is headed up by the car 4 combination of Greg Muller and David Pittman in the Mitsubishi Evo 8. Mick Jones and Shane Topping in car 13, a Subaru WRX STI, are placed second, with Matt Sherry and Kim Ledger all the way from WA, sharing car 44, a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 6, rounding out the top 3. 2006 New South Wales Alphera Dutton Rally team winners Mark Berry and Russell Newman in Car 3 are in 4th place and still in with a chance. Or so you'd think.